Focus Plumbing, always at your fingertips.
It's Trigon time.
Pow! Danny Vegas time, Danny Vegas world. We are so excited because, are you ready for this?
Sure.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you are. Everybody sees each other. This is exciting for me. Carrie Allard is on my show. Now, here's the story. There's always a little bit of a story. I want to do a soccer show. I wanted to start with a soccer segment. I thought, you know what? I want to bring on a soccer mom. And there's a lot of great soccer moms, as you well know. Mm-hmm. But, Carrie, you just have a little bit more knowledge of the whole system, because when I first started the club scene, I thought there was just a soccer god somewhere just moving all the parts, but there's a lot of parts. All right, so we're not going to get in now. Here's the story. Now, our daughters play for two different organizations, what we consider what we call club soccer. We're not going to mention any names, we're not going to mention names of kids, and we're not going to promote any of the organizations. We just want to have a discussion, Carrie, about what parents, what they can expect when they step into the club world. And we have plenty of time. I do want to say now, if there was a Las Vegas 04 team, all-star team, your child would certainly be on that team. I would honestly say, since I've watched her play, and I know she's right here in the studio, and I don't want her to start blushing, but she's probably a top 5 player in the year group, and she's actually playing up years, et cetera, et cetera. So you are looking certainly to groom her for great things in the future.
For sure.
For sure. When I watch you talk on the sidelines, I mean, you just come up with stuff like, wow, I didn't even know all that existed. So the fact that I just don't talk for the whole segment, let's get you involved here. Did you have more than one kid playing soccer?
Yeah,
I
right.
just know about your daughter because my daughter and her played on the same team in their junior high years.
Right.
So did you ever deal with recreational?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you went through the rec world too?
Yes.
Now,
we actually stayed in it for too long.
okay. Now
We
that's
didn't
interesting.
even know club existed.
Really?
Yeah, when we first started.
Okay, because that was kind of like me. A neighbor called me up and said, hey, I'm signing my daughter up for this soccer, and do you want Monica to play? And I'm like, yeah, she's doing nothing anyway. Why not? So, for all you folks that are interested or maybe already know, recreational is where the fun starts. It's kind of, it's almost like summer camp. You put your kid in this thing to give them something to do during the summer.
Right.
But in that rec league, obviously kids do shine.
Yes, they do.
They start loving it. They get into it. And then you find yourself in the club world.
Right.
Okay, so here's the question. I set it up perfectly. When you went from that rec league, that you said you stayed in too long.
Yes.
Okay. Alec Morgan of the national team, you probably know her story. She stayed in rec league till she was 13 years old.
Right.
Okay, so when you stepped up to this club, what was the experience? Give us a little bit of the story of like, well, we found out about this club, then what?
Okay.
All right.
So our kids were in rec league for about 4 years, and starting about year 2, we started having the same ref at every rec game. And my husband,
Same rep.
yeah, it's kind of funny. And my husband was actually the coach of the rec team.
Oh, okay.
Right. So the ref would come up to us and say, hey, you got to put your kids in club. They've been playing for a while now. They're starting to not be challenged. We're
Right.
like, we don't even know what you're talking about. And at the time, we had, 2 kids in football.
Right.
Rec soccer was just kind of enough for us. Well, the last game of the season in June, my husband was actually accused of cheating.
cheating.
Yes, saying that our kids were too old, clearly
Oh.
because they, had such good footwork for a rec player.
For a rec team.
They
Okay.
were too old, and it really ended the season on an ugly note. And we kind of
Okay.
looked at each other like, "Hey, it's time. We got to move on."
Okay.
So I didn't even know what to do. So I
Okay.
Google club soccer in Las Vegas. I just do a Google search. I don't
Okay.
even know the name of any clubs.
Super Soccer Mom just did a Google search.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not know. So I find there's lists of tryouts. I didn't even know any of these clubs where they were. So it happened to be that we went to Wet and Wild one day. We packed our soccer stuff on the way home, and we just kind of stopped at a tryout on the way home. We had no idea about age groupings, what
Right.
playing up meant. We were so ignorant. Like, it's embarrassing now what we didn't know.
All right.
So, and we actually happened upon the second week of tryouts, which is, was very late.
Right.
You want to
right.
get there.
Yeah, that decision's pretty much been made at that point.
Yes. So we felt even lucky that our kids were picked up.
Okay.
So both of them were picked up in an age group that was like a year above where
Okay.
they were. So one kid, great experience, transitioned really well into club soccer. It was not an issue. Thought it
Okay.
was the greatest thing ever. The other one, terrible time.
Okay.
Because she was used to being kind of the superstar in rec,
Right,
right?
right.
And she played for her dad, and she always knew what her dad wanted from her.
Right.
So when she was playing up, the style of play was more sophisticated. The girls were more knowledgeable. They were
Right.
taller, faster, stronger, quicker. And she wasn't quite understanding what the coach was saying. So her love of the game started to go down.
Okay.
And she actually kind of wanted to quit. She's like, just put me back in rec. But we knew that wasn't the right choice.
Okay.
So I actually talked to the coach, had a heart-to-heart with him, not an accusatory, you're horrible. It wasn't like that because it wasn't
Right.
his fault. Said, hey, this is not working for her, clearly. And
Right.
he's like, clearly no. So he actually contacted the coach from her own age group
Right.
and said, hey, I have this girl, great player, great family. Would you just at least take a look at her?
Okay.
And so he did. She went to a practice, and thankfully we were able to make that change, and she went down to her age group. And then things just kind of went from there, getting with her own peers of her own age, kind of where she was developmentally.
Right.
She felt more at home to make a mistake, try new things.
Now I know in the parents' world,
Mm-hmm.
and have your kids play up is almost like a Super Bowl ring. Okay. But would it be your advice to the parents to listen? You may have to swallow a little pride here, but
Mm-hmm.
putting your kid at the right age, going from rec, because the one thing we're learning
Mm-hmm.
is when you step into a club world, it's not a play game club. Okay, there's some serious cats in this deal.
Yeah.
There's parents that are serious. These coaches are serious. And if you kind of have that rec mentality, like I'm just going to do this for fun, and maybe I'll show up, and maybe I won't, you're not going to last long.
Oh, no.
So, would you really? And like I said, you're, the kid that I know plays up. But would you tell parents like, don't be so fast to do that?
Oh,
or would you say,
definitely.
hey, if your coach wants to do it, do it?
Definitely. You have to take it. I wouldn't say there's a rule for it, hard and steadfast rule, but you look at your kid and where are they developmentally. As you're transitioning from rec into club, definitely would not play up. I would say that's probably not a good idea. Being new to it as a rec player going into club, I would suggest find a tournament that has your age group, your child's age group playing,
Right.
and sit on the sidelines and watch multiple games and just see which teams seem to be the best fit for your child. Coaching style, the way the players interact, the style of play, the way the parents are acting on the sidelines. Do your research on GOT Soccer. What kinds of tournaments do they play in? Do they play in the most competitive brackets, or do
Right.
they tend to play down maybe in the silver or the bronze? That's typically a good place for a player who's rec transitioning into club to kind of go for it first.
You're so right, but I just know when I went from the rec to the club, I didn't know any of that. I'm just like, okay, this one guy said that this organization was pretty good, so we're just going to go to those tryouts, and oh wow, look, where are our names on there? And there we are.
Right.
So you don't really to do all that research. I mean, these teams practice in different areas, and what I know now has taken a couple of years to kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's and it's just so it can be complex.
Yes, very much.
Okay, so so what we've learned here, and Carrie, the first one to tell you, is when you go from rec, which is that recreational league where your kids are just having fun, and it's hey, there's a tournament this weekend, but you know what, we're going to SeaWorld, so forget the tournament. When you get into a club situation, and I will tell you, parents, club means this: you're cutting checks. Okay, it seems like every time I turn around, there's another email saying, okay, you need to pay for this, this, and this. So there is a little bit of a financial thing with this club soccer that you need to be prepared for. So, but when I got into it, I just didn't know all this stuff. Bronze level, gold teams, silver team. I didn't know any of this stuff. We were just kind of overwhelmed with the fact that we were just going to this club level.
Yes.
So I could see where, I guess the question is, we got about 5 minutes. And it's really hard because I've never changed organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Happy with the one I'm at. Don't plan on it.
Right.
Have you? But you have done that. You have literally like, hey, we're going from here and we're going over here. How hard is that? Or is it easy? Or maybe the first time is like a divorce. The first time's hard, but the third time is like, I could do this in a week. So is it kind of like that? The first time is really hard because you feel so committed to this brand.
Definitely. The first time was definitely hard, and you have to make sure your child's on board with that. That you have a conversation about goals and expectations. So if your child is happy being perhaps on a bronze or silver level team, and maybe they are the superstar, but that's what they want. They don't really want to talk about going to the gold level, going into the tougher tournaments. They're very happy with maybe being the superstar and not having to maybe do extra private training to achieve that status. Then you as a parent are going to have to let go of some expectations for a while and go, okay, my kid is happy. This is their sport, not mine.
That's right. It's all about them. And that leads me to another question that all parents have to realize, because I do think all parents think their kids better than they really are. We all do. We all look at our kids with rose-colored glasses, and they're all ready for the Olympic team.
Right.
And we know that. But we talked about this before. You have lots of kids going through the soccer world. You have your, I don't know how good the other ones are. I just know the one that I've watched. Certainly she's on a pathway to some pretty great things. I've seen her dominate games. It's great to watch her play. But you told me at some point when she was younger, the mindset wasn't there. Because to me, with my daughter, it's all about the mindset. If she wants to learn how to do a bicycle kick, I know if she really wanted to do it, she'd just go out there and she would work and work and work and work until it was done.
Right.
I've seen her do it with crochets and whatever she wanted to get into. But it's the mindset. At this age, your daughter's age, my daughter's age, it's either I'm moving forward or I'm quitting.
Right.
This is the age.
This is the age.
So my question is, as a parent, can you change the mindset? Or, they got it in them, and you can't force it. I know for me, trying to force my kid to have the right mindset is not working very well. She's just going to have to mature and get it.
Right.
And maybe she'll just click the lights off one day and say, I'm out of here.
Right.
What did you do?
So with my daughter, we definitely had our moments of her getting very down. And thankfully, we've had really good trainers through the years, private trainers. And one of them she's had for 3-4 years.
Right.
And
wow, that means a lot.
Yes. So he's definitely seen her grow, and he's told me many times it'll happen. Her mindset will just kind of switch at 13, 14 when she gets that confidence. And for her, he said, I really think it's going to be more towards 14 because she's kind of a shy, humble personality. And he was right. But we've definitely had rough patches where she questioned, why am I doing this? Why am I training so hard if I can't do these things during the game? Kind of what's going on.
Right.
And it's just a matter of, as a parent, kind of talking her through it, giving her, trying to give her confidence, but also not giving her false praise. You're right. You did kind of stink today. What are we going to do differently next time? Why don't we go to the park and work on that? We've had many times where her and her dad have gone to the park just to work on one thing that she did terrible in the game, down there for an hour, even in between tournament games, just to kind of pick up the mindset, to go, okay, I was terrible in the first game with that, but I worked on it at the park with my dad, and now I'm going in the second game stronger. I even considered at one point possibly a sports psychologist because I was so worried. She loved the game so much, but there were times she would kind of shut down and go into her shell. And we're like, no, get out of there. What can we do to help her? So just talking to trainers, talking to coaches, practicing the thing that you're not doing well.
Right. And
being positive and encouraging, but also honest. They know when they had a bad game. Do not lie to them. So that would be my advice, kind of what we've done.
Okay, because I tend to be a little bit more, I try to always look at kids, if my kid had a bad game, and I try to be optimistic. I try to find some sunshine, on that, because I do think, in a way, my kid's a little immature. just a little. I mean, she's growing into a woman. I mean, it's hard to believe. You know, in 6th grade, she was just building forts, and now all of a sudden, you know, I've got, my goodness gracious, we're worried about jeans we're wearing. So that's very interesting. Now, if you like this segment, please share it. Please like it. Carrie, thank you for coming on. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was fun. And we're going to be doing more soccer stuff once a month. I'm sure we'll have Carrie on again because I already have more questions I want to talk to her about. As far as some higher leagues that you can put your kids in, some of the pathway that she has taken as far as getting her daughter a pathway to the big time and stuff like that. So thank you so much for coming, and I had a really good time. It's a lot of fun. We'll be back for segment 3 right after this.